Hey guys, ChrisFix here with the 5th annual Top 5 Christmas Gift Ideas for car guys and car girls like you. Check it out. Now this year, just like every year, we have a lot of really cool gift ideas. They are unique, they are helpful, they aren't lame. It's not your scented candles, it's not your mugs. They're actually things that any car guy or car girl would love, which is the whole point of the video. The idea is to get you ideas for this holiday season so you don't have to stress out and you have something really cool, something that somebody would love to get. I'll be sure to link all these products in the description so you can easily find them. That way you're not hunting around for them. And I'm super excited. I'm like a kid on Christmas. I want to open these up and show you what they are. So let's get started. All right, the first gift. Let's see what we have here. Oh man, awesome, a ceramic coating kit. So like anything else, you could get this done by a professional or you could do it yourself with this kit. And I really like this kit because it has everything you need. They got the instructions, they got the gloves, although the wrong color. I think they should be blue. It has the ceramic coating, it has the microfiber towel and sponge, and that's how you apply it. And then it has a really plush microfiber towel to buff it off. And I'll show you exactly how to apply this. And the example vehicle here is gonna be my mom's Mercury Milan, and it is a mess. It is super dirty, look at this. So let's get started. Now the first thing we need to do is get this clean. So let's spray down the paint with our pressure washer, then we could hit it with some soapy water, wipe it down to remove the dirt, and then give it a rinse. Now the surface looks pretty clean, but it feels gritty. That means we need to grab our clay bar. So let's lubricate the paint with soapy water, and then clay the paint surface to remove all the contaminants that are embedded in that clear coat. That's what makes it feel gritty. Then we can rinse the car off again. And now the surface is clean, but the clay puts micro scratches into the paint. So to remove that, we're gonna polish this by hand, and you wanna make sure that you polish the entire panel. Then we can buff that polish off, and the final step is to do an alcohol wipe with 70% or higher isopropyl alcohol. This is very important because this is gonna remove any oils on the paint and just prep the surface so our ceramic coating bonds perfectly to the paint. Finally, we can begin ceramic coating. Grab that microfiber towel and wrap it around the sponge. Then get the ceramic coating and apply about 10 or 12 drops or so onto the towel to saturate it. Now we can apply the ceramic coat to the paint surface in a back and forth motion, and you can actually see it going on, and it's already making that paintwork pop. And if you're wondering, yes, it really is this simple to do. All the work is in the prep. If you prep the paint right, the ceramic coating comes out amazing. And after you're done ceramic coating the entire panel, you need to wait about 5 minutes, and after 5 minutes of drying, use a soft buffing microfiber towel and lightly, with almost no pressure, buff the surface smooth. So here's a before and after. So we went from this dirtiness to this awesome shine. Look at how good that looks. That looks incredible. And it's protected. Now I can't show you that just yet because it takes 24 hours for this to cure. You don't want to get it wet. You don't want to go and drive it around. You want to try to let it sit and let it dry for 24 hours for the best cure. And this should last at least a year, more like 2 to 3 years. And the best thing is it doesn't only work on paint. This also works incredibly well on restoring plastic trim like this on the Trailblazer, and you can see the huge difference. And surprisingly, it works very well on fiberglass boat hulls. I've been testing this out for a year now, and by the end of the season, for everybody who got their boats waxed, the wax was gone, but my ceramic coating was still beating up and working perfectly. Now you can see it worked on a boat after an entire year, but what about a car? So I've always wanted to do this test where one side of the hood is ceramic coated and the other side isn't ceramic coated, and we throw muddy water on top, and a white car is perfect because you'll see that dirty water. And let's see how it flows off. I'm not gonna tell you which side is coated and which side isn't coated. I wanna see if you guys could figure it out, so let's try this. Here's the bucket of muddy water, and here goes nothing. Check that out, that's actually pretty cool. The water on the right side is just rolling right off, and that's taking all the dirt with it. Meanwhile, on the left side, it's sticking to the hood. All right, now I did that for you guys. I never want to do that again. Throwing dirty water on your clean car is not a fun thing to do, but it taught us a lot. I think you know which side is ceramic coated and which side isn't. On this side, we did not have a coating. On this side, I ceramic coated. And you could actually see a huge difference, which I'm surprised. I didn't expect these results. So ceramic coating actually made a difference, and that's exactly why it made the list for this year's top 5 Christmas gift ideas. All right, so with every main gift idea, I also like to include something called a stocking stuffer. The whole point of a stocking stuffer is it's supposed to fit in the stocking, kind of, usually. Sometimes it doesn't. And it's supposed to be less expensive than the main gift, but somewhat related. Just like another good gift idea that doesn't break the bank. And this gift is really stuffing this stocking, so let's see what our first stocking stuffer is. And it is, nice, an undercarriage pressure washer attachment. Sweet. Now this is a super helpful tool if you want to clean the underside of your car or truck. Maybe you live in an area where they put road salt down in the winter and you don't want your frame to get all rusty, or maybe you like going off-roading or live on a dirt road or something with gravel and you get all this dirt buildup on your chassis. Well, then this tool is for you. I like to go off-road a lot in my truck, and I hit every mud puddle because, and my truck gets really muddy underneath. So let me show you how I clean it. Now, you need a pressure washer for this to work, and it just simply attaches to the quick connector like that. Now, when you press the trigger, 4 jets of water spray upwards, and let me show you how well it works. All you do is roll it back and forth under the truck, and I added the extensions that are included with the kit, so that way you could reach to the other side a lot easier, and there's really nothing to this. The pressure washer does all the work, and you just have to aim. You can see how this is perfect for cleaning the undercarriage after some off-roading or in the spring after all that salt is off the roads. So this is a great inexpensive tool that makes it easy to clean the underside of your car or truck. I mean, look at how much dirt has come off of this thing in just a few minutes, and that's exactly why it makes the list. Okay, and the next gift idea is a heavy one. And check it out, a jack stand. And I'll take a guess and say this one is a jack stand too? Yep. Now these are not your typical jack stands. These are actually super smart and are gonna make jacking up your car a lot easier. Let me show you why. So normally you need to get your jack under the car, find a frame jacking point, and then jack the car up until the wheel is off the ground. Then you have to slide a jack stand underneath. And now the problem is, the frame is all the way back there and our jack stand can't reach that because the jack is in the way. And don't get me wrong, we've all made this work. It's just a hassle. You have to re-jack up the car in a different position to get the jack stand to fit. So the solution is this. All you do is remove the 2 pins and the top part of the stand comes off. Now this piece can be placed on your jack and just line it up with a jacking point for your car, which in this case is the pinch weld. And then we could jack the car up all the way until the wheel is off the ground. Finally, we want to add the legs to the jack stand and make sure you push the pins in. Do the same for the other side. Good. And now we can lower the jack stand onto the ground like so. And now the car is safely on a jack stand. So your jacking point is the same exact place as where your jack stand's gonna go because you jack up your jack stand. I thought that was such a good idea. And you could use the pinch weld, which we used right here. You can see it has the little pinch weld adapter plate that goes on there, but there's more adapter plates if you want. You could pick up the frame adapter, that way you could jack it up from the frame of the car. They have special adapters for a late model Corvette, for a Tesla, and I think you get the idea. They have a bunch of different adapters depending on what car you have. And to put the car back on the ground, just jack up the jack stand, remove both legs, and then you can lower the car to the ground like that. Now another feature that might seem trivial but actually makes a pretty big difference for me is usually I have to put a piece of wood on the driveway so I don't damage my driveway because you know my driveway is in amazing shape. But either way, my dad doesn't want me damaging the driveway. It doesn't look good. These dig in big time. So every time you need to get your jack, you need to also get a piece of wood so that you can slide it underneath it. Now the feet in this new jack stand is nice because it has a large surface area. It's not a sharp point, so you don't need to put wood. It won't damage the driveway as easily. And finally, a normal jack stand raises pretty quickly, although I wouldn't use it this high. Now to raise the new jack stand, all you need to do is remove the pins, lift up, and with the lowest setting, this is 12 inches off the ground, and with the highest setting, this is 16. So since I use jacks and jack stands, no lifts, all common hand tools in my driveway to get the job done, I thought this was a pretty cool idea compared to the normal jack, and that's exactly why it makes my list. So let's see what stocking stuffers we have here. All right, wheel chocks. And there is one more gift in here, and we have rubber jack pads. Now before you lift the vehicle, you need to chalk off the wheels. That way the car doesn't roll. And pieces of wood work, but they're not the greatest. So a great stocking stuffer are these rubber wheel chocks. The rubber is a lot more grippy than the wood, and it's angled so it fits the tire better. Now these are just wheel chocks. There's nothing special to them. They're just pretty nice, especially compared to wood, and that's why they make a good stocking stuffer. And the next stocking stuffer is also related to jacking up the car, and that's these jack pucks. These are rubberized pucks, and the idea is some jacks don't have rubber on them. So you have a bare metal surface jacking up against a bare metal surface on the car. You'll scratch the car's surface, it'll start causing rust, and that's just not a good thing. So what we want is something like this, which fits right over that jack. That way, when you go slide the jack underneath the car and start lifting at that frame point, we're not making direct metal-to-metal contact. You can see the rubberized jack pad is an insulator between the two, and also gives it some grip so it doesn't slide off. Now, this is a very simple but useful item. It's inexpensive, and that's why it made my stocking stuffer. Okay, we are on our third main gift, and what do we have? Alright, this is a nice electric impact ratchet. Now, one of the most important things when buying power tools is to make sure you stick to one brand. This is a little trick that's going to help you save a ton of money. The reason why is a bare tool is usually not too bad price-wise. But once you start adding in these lithium-ion batteries, that's when it starts getting expensive. And if you use all the same brand, a lot of times the tools are interchangeable with the same battery. So you could change the batteries around, and you don't need to buy a million batteries for each different tool. So let's check out the newest tool that I got, and that is their electric impact ratchet. Now, to give you an idea of how powerful this is, you can see it's not really moving these lug nuts. Meanwhile, an impact gun has no problem getting these off. And I just want to try one more time, and that actually worked. And that one worked as well. So that kind of gives you a good idea of how strong this is. So with the wheel off, now let me show you where this tool comes in handy compared to a regular impact gun. So let me just show you real quick the impact gun. The issue with this, it's awesome. It has tons of power, but it's huge, it's large, it's heavy. I need two hands with this. You could get to this bolt right up here. It's a little cumbersome in here. I would need two hands. I'd need to like force it out. Hopefully this bolt isn't long, because if it is, there's not enough room here for this to go all the way back. That could be an issue. Let's just say we had to get this bolt off. You can see I can't even fit this impact gun. I'd have to use a shorter socket. So that's the downside with a big bulky impact gun. Now compare that to the impact ratchet. It's a lot lighter, a lot easier to fit anywhere. We could fit it there, we could fit it here, we could fit it down here. No problem at all. And yet it's still strong enough at 200 foot-pounds of torque. We could easily remove most nuts and bolts, no problem at all. And the last two features I want to show you real quick are the battery meter right here. So you press the trigger a little bit, and it'll tell you how much battery life you have left. We have 2 out of 4 bars. And then you have this button right here, which has 3 different settings. We have the first setting, when you press the trigger, it isn't very strong. And I'll show you how that works in a second. When you go to the second setting, you press the trigger, it's stronger. And then when you go to the third one, you have it wide open. When you press the trigger, it is super strong. So the reason why I use the first one is for when you're tightening down fasteners. You don't want to strip them, you don't want to over torque them. So we're gonna tighten this fastener right here. We're on setting 1. So watch what happens. I'm gonna pull the trigger all the way and hold my finger down. And once it gets tight, it completely stops. That way you don't over torque this by mistake. Now you go in here with your torque wrench and you torque it down, you're good to go. So although it isn't as powerful as its bigger brother, this is nice because it's way smaller, fits into tight areas a lot better, and it's still plenty strong for most fasteners, which is why this makes the list this year. Okay, on to our next stocking stuffer. All right, a mini screwdriver set. Now, a precision screwdriver set like this makes a great stocking stuffer. It's relatively inexpensive, it fits in the stocking, and it's just a nice overall set. Check this out. So we have a ton of different bits here, and some of these I've never even heard of. Let's check it out. So we have our security Torx, we have some more security Torx, we have tri-point, we have pentalobe, square bits, we have our Phillips triangle bit, we have a SIM card ejector, our flathead bits, more flathead, and then JIS, which is similar to Phillips. Then we have hex, we have some more hex, and then finally we have our nut drivers. Now the screwdriver itself is a lightweight aluminum, and it has bits that are magnetic so that they stick in place. Plus we're gonna be working with really small screws with this precision screwdriver, and the magnetic bits are real nice when working with these tiny screws. And just to give you an idea of how the screwdriver works, I have an LED flashlight and we have small screws on the back here. Now with a precision screwdriver, put the butt of the screwdriver into your palm and then you unscrew it like that. You can see the butt of the screwdriver has a bearing on it so that you could unscrew it with just one hand, which is nice. And then to screw it back in, same thing. So again, this is a nice complete precision screwdriver set, and that's why it makes my list. Okay, on to our fourth gift idea. It's a bit heavy, Sweet, this is a nice ratcheting wrench set. And the next one is even heavier. All right, another ratcheting wrench set, just what I needed. Now, anyone who works on cars should definitely have a set of ratcheting wrenches, and here's why. So with a regular wrench, as you loosen the bolt, you need to remove the wrench from the bolt head and bring it back to the start, put the wrench back on, and loosen it again. You have to repeat this process over and over, and this could be a hassle. So the solution is a ratcheting wrench, which doesn't need to be removed from the bolt since it's ratcheting. So you could clearly see how much quicker and easier it is using a ratcheting wrench versus a conventional wrench. And another good example where a ratcheting wrench is very useful is right at this lower control arm bushing here. If you try to use a regular ratchet, you can see there's just not enough space to get it in there. But if we get our ratcheting wrench, it fits in here due to the low profile of the wrench compared to the ratchet. I'm not gonna loosen this up because this doesn't have to get loosened. It was more just an example to show you how this fits in tight areas where a ratchet might not. So I have two really nice sets to show you guys. You can't go wrong with either one. This one is less expensive, this one is more expensive. I'll explain why in a second. They're both lifetime warranty, they're both 12 point, they're both 72 tooth, and they work very similarly. This one is a chrome finish, so it's more slippery when it gets oiled up, like if your hands are oily or you get oil on the tool. And this one is a satin finish, which grips a lot better when there's oil on the tool. And then as you can see, this has a nice foam case, which is great because these tools don't get disorganized. You know when a tool is missing. You can see, oh look, that tool's gone. And it's clearly labeled at the top. Now, another great thing about this is a complete metric set. We're going from 8mm all the way up to 19, and we don't skip a beat. There's every single size in there. Now, on this one, sure, you get SAE, which is awesome, and you get metric, but it starts at 6mm, then goes 8, 10, 12. So we're missing a bunch of sizes in between there. They're not used often, but when you do use them, like the 11mm, and you don't have it, you're gonna hate yourself for getting that set and not that set. But again, you do get all these SEE wrenches, and you get the metric wrenches, which is nice. But this doesn't have any case. This plastic case that you see here is just for show. This is for just inside the store. I had to open this up, and this, you can't pick it up. It'll all fall out. So you're gonna need to find yourself a way to store all your wrenches. And Santa did tell me at the end of the video, the last stocking stuffer, he might have a solution for that, so we'll have to wait and see. But either way, both of these you can't go wrong with. Either one is a great pick, which is why it makes my list. Okay, only a couple more stocking stuffers left. Let's see what we got. All right, a ratcheting breaker bar, and the head swivels. And let's see what the other one is, and it's deep in there. Okay, it's tiny and sweet, a breaker bar adapter. Now you guys know how much I love breaker bars. I use them in most of my videos. So time to use a breaker bar. With your breaker bar, long breaker bars. And a breaker bar. So you're gonna need a breaker bar. With the breaker bar, you get the breaker bar in there. Nice long breaker bars. I'm gonna try using the breaker bar. With our breaker bar, I'm using a breaker bar, so use a breaker bar. The breaker bar, we'll get the breaker bar on it and break it loose. Now with a typical breaker bar, when you go to loosen a fastener, your socket has to fit onto that fastener a certain way. So in this case, the lug nut, that's how it fits. I can't change anything. This doesn't ratchet like a typical ratchet. So if I need to loosen it, which is pushing this down, I can't because it's hitting the ground. So what I would have to do is take this off, adjust it to a new angle, and hope that angle works. We're in a wide open area here, so there's no frame, there's no parts in the way. If you're working under a car, that could be an issue. But in this case, it's not too big of an issue. We're just doing lug nuts. But they do make an adapter that actually fits onto the breaker bar, and now we have our ratcheting mechanism. How cool is that? Now we could get the breaker bar onto the lug nut, break it loose, and ratchet away to loosen it the rest of the way like so. I thought that was such a good idea. I wanted to share it with you guys. It makes a great little stocking stuffer. They're not too expensive, and that's why it makes the list. Now, most people working on cars have a breaker bar already, but if you want to get a new one, you could get a ratcheting breaker bar like this, and it already has the ratcheting head on it. This one's also adjustable, so it could go at different angles, but it has the ratcheting head so that you don't need to have an adapter, you just use this. So get it on the lug nut, and let's break it free, and now again we could ratchet away to loosen the lug nut the rest of the way with just our breaker bar. So you don't have to live in the Stone Age with the old-fashioned breaker bars. You could get something nice like this which ratchets, and that's exactly why it makes the list. Now last but not least, our final gift idea, and we have a couple. What could they be? Okay, a magnetic towel holder, and the next one, oh, that's pretty cool, a magnetic spray can holder, and I think I'm seeing a trend here. Yep, a magnetic box holder, and finally, a magnetic tray. Now, magnetic holders are great. There's a bunch of different types, as you just saw, and I just want to give you a quick example. I use this all the time on the side of my toolbox. So we'll start with the magnetic towel holder, and it goes onto the toolbox like that, and then grab your paper towel roll and fit it on there and close it up like so. And now you have easy access to paper towels on the side of your toolbox. And the nice thing about these is the magnets have a rubber coating to them, so you don't have to worry about them damaging the toolbox. Now, if you're like me and use gloves when working on a car, the magnetic glove holder is great, so you have quick and easy access to the gloves right on the side of your toolbox. And then on the other side of my toolbox, I like to use a tray like this. And again, it's rubber coated magnets, and this piece right here is rubber coated, so when you put it up against your box, it won't damage it. So instead of leaving your tools in your engine bay while you're working, you can put them on the side of your toolbox, and you know these are the tools that you've been using. Now, another version of this, which I like a lot, and I suggest getting multiple of these, is this right here. I like to keep my brake cleaner in there and a funnel, and you could also put your screwdrivers in there. And one thing that's definitely important to mention with this, your screwdriver has to go all the way through both of these holes in order to stay in place. If you have a short screwdriver like this stubby one right here and it only goes through that top hole, this is more likely to come out. You can see how it's gonna pop out. That's just what's gonna happen when you move the cart. But as long as your screwdriver goes all the way through, it holds itself in place like that. So there you go. If you have a metal toolbox like this, I highly recommend these magnetic holders for the paper towels, for your gloves, for your spray cans, and just for random tools that you have out and about as you do work. They're inexpensive and they make great gifts, which is why it makes my list. Okay, our last stocking stuffers, and it looks like Cooper wants to help open these. Let's see what we got. All right, magnetic socket holders, and more magnetic tool holders, and even more magnetic tool holders, and finally, a magnet on a stick. And these magnetic tool holders make great stocking stuffers, and also this magnetic pickup tool. This will pay for itself the first time you use it. So you're ever working on your car, and you go to grab a bolt, and then, well, you hit it off and it goes down to the depths, but it doesn't fall out the bottom, it gets stuck all the way down there. You could try to get your hand in there, it's pretty tight, and I don't want to damage the radiator fins. I just can't, I can't get to it. And that's where our extendable stick magnet comes into play. This thing is awesome, and it extends pretty far. Now you can easily go in here, grab that bolt, and pull that bolt out, and there you go. You just saved yourself a bunch of hassle. Check that out. So this is the little pen magnet that comes with the kit, and this is its bigger brother. Now this is also a magnet, and my favorite part with this is it has a light. And this light is actually halfway decent. It's daytime, and you can still see how it brightens everything up, especially if you need to go down deep somewhere and get a nut or bolt. And then the last thing I like about this is it comes in a case with foam, although I have no clue why they didn't make a little cutout for the other one as well. Maybe it was an afterthought. Either way, you could cut out your own piece, and then you could fit that right in your toolbox. And speaking of foam, I like keeping my tools organized with this foam tool organization like that, and like that. I really like the foam, how it keeps it all in one place, organized. It doesn't bounce around when you move the cart. It's a little bit better than just throwing it in like this. You can see how this is kind of organized, but it's still not as organized as that. Well, if you want to organize your tools and you don't have the foam, don't worry, you could use these magnetic tool holders. We'll start with these. These are magnetic socket holders. We have 1/4 inch, we have 3/8 of an inch, and we have 1/2 an inch. And just so you get an idea, this is what it looks like all filled up. We have our deep sockets up here, and then we have our shallow sockets here. The thing I like about this is they're clearly labeled, and there are no skipped sizes. They even have 4.5 of this deep well socket, which I don't have, and I definitely need to get if you're gonna store it in something like this. I hate having open slots. But this works very well, and you can turn it upside down and shake it, and they don't come out, which is awesome because it's magnetic. If you have a toolbox like this with these shallow drawers and you put it in here, it's nice, it doesn't move. You can move this around, it's gonna stay in place, but the deep sockets make it so that it doesn't close. So you would definitely have to either put this on the side of your toolbox, or if you have a drawer with more clearance, find a spot in here, and then that will work perfect. Now, if you need a streamlined socket holder, one of these works. You can see it's magnetic. These pop in and out very easily. This one isn't numbered, but that doesn't mean you can't get magic marker and just write the numbers right on the side. And it's nice. They hold in place really nicely, and they actually fit in your skinny, narrow drawers, no problem at all. And I do like this socket holder better than one of these rail socket holders because these are a pain. You have to like pull on it hard. Sometimes they don't go in easily, and then they're hard to remove when there's a whole bunch of them. This is nice and simple. They come right out, they go right in. Deep sockets and shallow sockets, and you're good to go. And real quick, the last two magnetic tool holders I want to show you is this right here for wrenches and this right here for screwdrivers. Now the ratcheting wrench set from before fits nicely into this magnetic tool holder, and each wrench is easy to add. And then on the other side, the screwdrivers are held in with magnets like so. Now the screwdrivers are definitely better off on the top than they are on the bottom, but these should be fine. Let me give you a shake test. They're actually holding pretty good. Sometimes you'll find that a screwdriver gets loose and falls out, but I prefer putting all the screwdrivers on the top like this, and you could just do every other one and you still have plenty. And with that, we are done. Our tool storage is very important, so that's why I like these. They make great stocking stuffers. They're inexpensive and they work really well, which is why it makes the list. So there you go. That is this year's top 5 Christmas gift ideas for car guys and car girls. We had a lot of really amazing gifts, and I'll be sure to link each one in the description so you can easily find them. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, remember to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think of the gifts in the comments. If you have any other gift ideas, put them in the comments as well, because I'm sure we're gonna get tons of people reading, and the more gift ideas we have, the better. And as always, I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, enjoy. Even if you don't celebrate anything, I hope you guys enjoy time with your friends and family and have a Happy New Year. Stay tuned.